Wreck My Podcast.
This is the episode for all the meat popsicles. We cover the fifth element this week on Wreck My 90s.
Wreck My Podcast.
Welcome into Wreck My Podcast. This week I'm here with my guests. He's a big bada boom. It's Cam.
You remember when Bruce Willis was dead at the end of this? Oh wait, that was the sixth sense.
Wait, that is not the sixth element.
Yeah,
the fifth element and the sixth sense. He loves doing movies with numbers in it.
He loves them.
Yep. I'm here with my other guest. A cherry is his greatest nemesis. It's Joe.
Wait, so that's not Uma Thurman?
Nope. Surprisingly, I didn't see anything say that Uma Thurman was up for this role. I feel like she would have done great for this.
I just remember her, Uma Thurman, being this role, and then I watched it, I went, oh yeah, it's not her.
Yeah. I could totally see Uma Thurman being in this movie. That's so funny. And then I'm your host. I am very disappointed. My name is Jarrod. That was like my favorite line in the whole movie. So apparently Gary Oldman hates this movie.
Why? He's great.
He literally only took the role because, is it pronounced Luc Besson? Not Luc Besson. I'm going to call him Luc Besson because it sounds like he's better. A fancy French guy, right? So Luc Besson, I guess, financed one of Gary Oldman's early movies. And so Gary Oldman felt like he had to kind of pay him back by being in this movie, which I think Gary Oldman's character is like one of the best characters in this whole movie.
He's great.
It's so unnuanced that it's amazing. He's just like the most redneck futuristic gun arms dealer in the world. Yeah. And I love it, but he hated this movie. And my favorite line he says is he just yells, "I am very disappointed," as he flies in space. Yeah, it's great stuff. I'm a huge fan of the dialogue of this movie.
This movie is wild.
I am a fan of Chris Tucker.
Well, before we get into it, let me do Jordan Explains the movie real quick, and then we can talk about all the stuff we talk about on this show.
Oh yes, it's time for Jordan to explain the movie quickly.
Something about Egypt and Indiana Jones's dad, and a weapon against evil. Now jump forward 300 years, and the weapon to destroy us is here. Well, kind of. And then the thing that's supposed to stop the evil is also destroyed, but thankfully there's cell regeneration technology. How convenient. The savior of humanity has to go find 4 MacGuffins so that she can save us from evil. Along the way, there's deceit, war, and Chris Tucker yelling a bunch. In the end, it's not the fifth element that saves us, but love, and more importantly, sex in a chamber.
Oh yeah. The fifth element is love.
Is that what that's supposed to be? I thought the fifth element. I remember. Okay, here's my first question.
She is not the fifth element.
Here's my first. So it's.
I thought she was the fifth element.
So it's love. Air, wind, fire, water, and love.
Yeah, heart, like Captain Planet, bro.
Okay,
that guy was the worst.
Before we talk about it, I want to know when, because we've all seen this movie before. I'm assuming, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, when was the last time you seen this movie?
I think last year.
Okay.
I just put it on.
It's been a few years for me. It's probably been at least 5, maybe even closer to 10.
Yeah, so I saw this movie for the first time when I was probably 17 or 18, and then I watched it again a few years after that, and I haven't seen it since. So it's probably been a decade since I've seen this movie. I remember thinking that she was the fifth element because she was they were like, oh my gosh, the perfect being, the fifth element. It's all things in one. I never really thought oh yeah, love is the fifth element. I thought that was just a thing where it's yeah, you know what's cool that you've never experienced, you 5,000-year-old baby? Love.
Yeah.
Which brings me, okay, let me ask. Do you like this movie? Did it hold up? How do you feel about this movie?
I think it's important, but it's not as good as everyone says it is.
It's better than Battlefield Earth.
Most things are.
A lot less Dutch angles.
Yeah, but I like it enough to where I could watch it. If I want to watch a science fiction movie, I'll watch it.
Yeah. What about you, Joe?
I like this movie. Even
Okay.
watching it again, I was like, oh, I really enjoy this. It's fun, entertaining. And I love that you can have like a weird concept with all these weird things going on, but it still looks good and it still is fun
Yeah.
to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean it has to be a bad movie.
Yeah, I agree with you guys that I like the movie just because of the pure chaos of everything. Like, it's funny in the way I don't think it was meant to be funny. Although I think Luc Besson did throw humor in there because I think his vision of the future was less like. So it met that perfect middle ground, like right between utopian of Star Trek and dystopian of like Blade Runner. It kind of met right in the middle, and I was like, "That's
so." It was just topian,
just topians, yeah, lots of topiaries."
But here's society,
the topian society. Here's the thing that trips me up every time I watch this movie. I feel like Lilu is essentially a child. I get it; she's a 5,000-year-old supreme being, but the fact that a middle-aged Bruce Willis is like hitting on and having weird intimate relations with this being that was literally born yesterday and can't even speak English yet. And like, I feel like it's almost like
Quentin catching on pretty quick, bro.
She is catching on pretty quick, but I just feel like Quentin Tarantino directed this film with how like cringy I feel about how this character is like being portrayed. Do you guys get that feeling at all? I just feel like she's being sensationalized as like this little child, and it makes me feel weird.
Yeah, I mean, like juxtaposing those two ideas is like obviously going to be loaded, right? Like if you are perceiving her to be infantile, the way that they portray her a bit, or a lot a bit, but she's also a 5,000-year-old creature. So like you can forgive Bruce Willis being a horny cab driver, you know? Like there's
but at the same time, the cradle.
Yeah. Then and at the same time you go if you try to push it in that direction, you're like, yeah, no, dude, this is fucked up. Like this is gross.
Yeah, it strikes me as very weird, and I get it. It's a society that doesn't exist with aliens that don't exist and stuff. So like, of course, it's not going to relate because we don't have anything to relate it to. But I just feel, I guess it's no worse than like Padme and tiny Anakin, you know, like I guess it's
which always made me it just makes me feel weird about it. Like
so anyway,
that's always
my trip up on it, but I do love how just crazy this movie is. And it predicted a lot of things that weren't a thing at the time, right? Like so reality TV stars are like influencers that are constantly just showing you their life. 97 this came out. Those weren't things back then. We didn't
know.
Not
as much, yeah.
Ruby Rod is like so on par with what influencers are doing today that it's like insane how on the head Luc Besson hit that.
When you're just a performer to perform and you don't have like a specific skill.
Yeah, exactly. It was very
create your audience.
Yeah. Very interesting. Also the fact that like,
his hair, that big old tubey thing.
Dude,
you guys getting like Birdo from Mario vibes? Like just from the way that
was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
Or like Qbert.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So much like Qbert. Yeah. That's pretty funny. Okay. So so I enjoy this movie for the pure just like craziness of it. I get it that there's probably a lot of nuance because Luc Besson is like a pretty good filmmaker. What are some things, Cam, that I missed maybe that were like actually, because I was reading things about how like the shots were tracked and staged and like all of them had a purpose. And I was kind of like losing it a little bit. So what did you see here that you're like, hey, that's good job on you, bro?
I mean, it's shot well. That's all I would really say is it's shot well to make you feel like you're immersed in the environment. And to me, that's all I care about the most. You know,
definitely.
It's not necessarily like you can put anything on those same kind of tracks and use all the different like optics and shoot a movie that looks like shit. You know, like it just means that the director had his hand in everything because he had a plan, and the plan was to make us feel like we were in this world.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's cool.
I totally
love
agree.
the sound design too.
Sound design's great of it. Yeah.
Sound design's awesome.
Yeah. And as much as like the music kind of does date it a little bit, it It is fun. I love how futuristic movies always take on elements of the decade or era that they were like created.
Five elements.
All the elements. They take on all 5 elements.
Yeah.
What are the 5 elements? Rap music without rapping, just beats. The other element is suspenders. Were those a thing in the
Suspenders.
90s? Orange suspenders.
Probably.
I've always wondered, with flying cars, how do you know what's a road and what isn't?
Exactly.
Joe, where we're going, we don't need roads, okay?
Yeah, but they're all following the same line. They look like they're in traffic, but it's like, why? Yeah. There's like sky.
you know what my first, yeah, it's true. It's true. No, dude, it's like the Autobahn.
Just go down.
Just all rules. No rules. I mean, he did go down, right?
Up
he went for the fog. When I saw him come out of the garage, my first thought was just like, George Lucas saw this when he created Coruscant, because it looks that shot looks identical.
Yeah, it's identical.
It's so funny. I don't know. I agree with you. The whole flying car thing. It's like, yeah, because I guess in planes there's so few of them in the air at one time when it relates to the whole space that you're never worried about it.
Control
but just think about
which bearing to take.
But yeah, like a city, and then we're just like, yeah, we're up in the air, floating around. Like, unless
all the
you would have to create like some type of stanchion system that people would have to. But then you wouldn't have to, because on a car, if you go outside the lines off the road, you wreck your car because you're probably like hitting forests or curbs or buildings. But if you're in the air and you go out of the lines, there's just more air. So it's
what if it's kind of just like a magnetic system that prevents you from leaving an area until you get to your next area?
Okay, Elon Musk.
Or majority of them are all just self-driving.
That's probably what it would end up being. It's just the self-driving part of it. It's going to end up being like
your job
upload.
was being the driver of a self-driving car.
that would be the most boring job ever, I feel like.
Yeah, but it'd be terrible.
But it pays well. So in the future, when gas is $45 a gallon, so some things I was there's, of course, I see these things that make me laugh so hard. Very, very beginning is not the very beginning. The very beginning was like really weird. I totally forgot that they were like in Egypt in 1914. And I was like, what the heck is even happening right now?
With these stones, which the entire time, all I could picture were infinity stones every time he was like, where are the stones?
I was even trying to figure out too, because it felt like it was an Uncharted level where it was like, okay, here's some symbols, now line them up with the other symbols, but all the symbols are the same. And I'm like, wait a second, how do you know which one's fire, which one's water, which one's wind? They all look identical
because of the direction that they're going.
But the problem is they can only go up and down or left and right. So there's 4 stones in 2 directions.
Diagonals.
But none of them had a diagonal. When you look at the stones, none of them had a diagonal. They were all...
but fire is this and wiggly. Air is this and straight. Earth is straight. And water is this and wiggly.
Yeah. Wavy.
Can we also... If you had one single match... Would you literally like strike it and then slowly bring it down as much as I'd be like strike and then just drop it right on top? Like, what are you doing?
Was it planned too that the match almost went out and then they all reacted?
I didn't hear. I think that was scripted because I didn't actually read anything like, oh, it did, like they accidentally breathed and it almost went out, and they were like, get that shot, that's amazing, you know. I think it was scripted to be just like this over the top, like Austin Powers, like stop moment. Where it's like, why are you going so slow? What are you doing? But near the beginning, when we jump forward 300 years into the future into what I assume is idiocracy, but the president's there and he says he's like calling he's on the phone with someone who's like out by the big ball of fire, and he goes, listen, this is the president, that's an order. No, what are you talking about? They know you're the president. You were just talking to them like 5 seconds ago. Why you got to say, this is the president, that's an order? Like they know who they're talking to. I thought that line was really weird. But anyway.
He did like to say, this is the president a lot.
Yes. I mean, I guess if I was the president, I would love to say the president's here.
Also, you need to remind all of us, because we won't remember who he is after he says it one time. You know, you got to keep telling us over and over.
We wouldn't know. Also, my favorite thing is that in this version of the future, they're like, yeah, we're going to put screens all over the place, but they're going to be 1 inch by 1 inch. The tiniest little screens. Even our phones are like 4 times bigger than the screens he had.
Oh
It's
yeah.
true.
It was cracking me up. Also, the through line of Bruce Willis's mom, or I guess Corbin Dallas's mom, calling him all the time. I was just like, at the beginning, I was like, this is stupid. And by the end, I was like, this is hilarious. This is great. You stuck with it long enough to make me think it's funny. I like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So essentially, the like cell regeneration pod or whatever, which I'm like, real convenient. You have this thing here. Essentially, it's a Bacta tank, I guess, because they like fixed up them later. But I also thought, is this the machine from Westworld? Like, are you actually creating human beings? Are you creating things,
human flesh and things,
human flesh, and giving sentience? Like, are we getting into the realm of like what's alive and what's not?
Like that whole, like, just, I mean, those aliens look cyborgy.
I know some of them were very droidish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and they walked so slow.
yeah.
They shuffle along.
Could you imagine having to wear that damn suit?
Oh my gosh, I would not. I would not want to be that actor
and walk in sand.
Yeah, no, no. Talk about another like moment that was ridiculous. It was like, "Come on, you can make it out," while the door's closing. He's like, "No, I can't." Oh my gosh, shuffle along over here. Okay, here's the thing. Ratings trip me out. The MPAA. What are you guys doing? This is a PG-13 movie. I saw nipple 3 times in this movie. Clear, easily seen nipple, not obscure nipple, like just straight Mia Jovovich's nipples. And I was like,
yeah,
how did they get away with that?
The world was right back then.
It was the 90s.
They were like, oh, she has orange hair. It's not real. like, what was the reasoning? How did they get away with that PG-13 rating? Trips me out. I have no idea.
Well, I mean, a whole new introduction of FCC laws came in the 2000s, but
I guess that's true.
Yeah, Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake to thank for that.
Yeah,
changed everything. Nipples became bad again.
Make nipples great again. So why does she? Why does she?
As a shirt?
We should. What would that be? The Minga? It's not MAGA. It's Minga.
Minga.
Why does she have orange hair? Not that I'm complaining. It's a cool look, but like apparently them deciding to give her orange hair, them having to keep dyeing it made her hair so brittle that they just had to give her a wig by the end of it. Because like they kept having to re-dye it orange and everything, but I'm like, why did we even
just
make
felt
that
like
call?
it went with the whole sci-fi thing.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
I guess that's true.
It was more. It was more striking.
Yeah,
And
but
it was better than having to choose between like, oh, do we make her a blonde? Do we make her a brunette? What about a redhead?
I guess it's true. Just to go something that's completely ridiculous. I was trying to remember if any other characters in the movie had like crazy hair colors or not, besides
Bruce
Ruby.
Willis.
Bruce Willis has the crazy.
What are you trying to say?
Bruce Willis has the craziest hair color in most of his movies.
Craziest hair color. It's see-through.
It is. It's like your school colors, man. Clear.
Yeah, clear. He has clear
Represent
hair.
over here. So there was tons of McDonald's product placement in this movie, which was real fun there. Corbin Dallas being a little rapey. I think he watched Snow White one too many times and thought, you know what, I'm going to kiss her while she's unconscious. That'll work.
No.
And it did. It did if you count by the end. I guess it worked. But
is the long game.
Yeah. I think the one thing I took away from this and I'm super happy about is it's a good thing to note the flavor saver comes back in 300 years.
Hell yeah.
People are gonna love Sugar Ray again. The cop girl had the Leia buns. I thought that was a nice nod.
Nice nod.
Thought that was pretty funny. At first I was like, did Dallas just kill this military guy by putting him in the freezer? But he comes back later, but I'm like, he looks dead to me.
No, he just thawed out. He thawed out. It's fine. It's kosher.
In the future, we could just freeze bodies and it's totally fine.
They just put them in like one of those like rotisserie ovens.
Yeah. Or they left them on the counter for 24 hours. Either way, it'll get you there. So they found a way to finally do air travel without anyone being obnoxious. They just put everyone to sleep. Why don't we instill that now? You just get in little chambers and they just knock you out with some gas and then you wake up once you get there. I feel like that would be a much better way to travel.
Ideally.
I think so. I mean, we all kind of do it anyway. We all medicate ourselves or drink a lot of alcohol before we get on a plane. So why not just like have it be part of the trip? Just here's some gas.
Yeah.
You'll be up in 4 hours.
I take a full dose of Xanax and start to read a book and then can't remember what I read and then have to read it again.
Oh man,
Jordan, do you have to take anything before a flight?
No, but I should.
he raw dogs flights with his anxiety.
I do, and it's so bad. It's so bad. Take years off my life, man.
You know, like that first shot of Die Hard where Bruce Willis is just like clutching the arms of the thing. I feel like that's Jordan.
That is me the whole way.
Which is funny because he's been on so many flights. And if once I go to Europe though, I'm like, for sure I'm gonna have to take something because
Xanax is a dream, man.
Yeah, 9.5 hours is too long for me to be in a heightened state.
You don't even care that you're on a plane.
I know. I need that in my life. Life.
You go Nanite Town, dude. It's amazing.
That's it. I'm going next week. Give me some of these. Give me some of these magic pills.
I'm going on a flight. Let me try it. And then you could try one before you go on the flight so you know what it feels like.
Yeah. I mean, that's actually what I'm going to do. I'm going to start testing it out before I
just
go.
Start taking Xanax, dude.
I know.
Don't drink any alcohol.
Yeah, you will die.
Why not? You will die.
You will.
Haven't you heard these stories of the people where they die on the plane?
I've heard them. Yeah. That's why I have to be very, very. That's why it freaks me out even more thinking about that. So that's why then I gotta take it even more.
Then you gotta you're just left there until the plane lands.
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna be like so anxious that it's just gonna be like the adrenaline's gonna like level out, and it's gonna be like that person who's eating the edibles and it's like this isn't hitting me and keeps eating, and then I'm just like dead in the seat.
I think I know that guy.
Yeah, we all know that guy. So I thought it was kind of lazy that Fluxton Paradise or whatever is just literally Hawaii. Like you could have made it a little different, but
yeah,
I get it. Hawaii's a cool place.
What's the name of the Avatar planet?
Pandora.
Oh yeah, dumbass name.
Oh yeah,
about that dumbass shit.
Yeah, Pandora that has the what's the freaking metal called that's stupid? The stupidest
unobtainium. Metal that they can't obtain.
Yeah, the unobtainium. It's a disgrace to the name Avatar. Like it's just those movies.
Yeah.
I really hope this second one flops so bad.
It won't.
It won't. No, it won't. It's
because it's been so long. That's excited to see it though.
But everyone will see it.
Who is ever excited for a sequel that comes out like 20 years later?
I also would say I didn't know anyone that was excited for. Well, no, I knew a few people that were excited for Top Gun. Actually, I knew quite a few people that were excited for Top Gun Maverick. But once it came out and I heard more about how good it, or like people were saying it was good, I heard a lot more people getting way more excited about it though. So I think kind of
have you guys seen
under
it?
that category?
No desire for.
I kind of want to see it in theaters because it looks like it'd be a fun ride, but I also don't care enough.
I don't like military porn, man.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. It is just one big ad for the Air Force.
For the Air Force.
Yeah, that's what
it's
kind
like,
of
look how cool our jets are, and you're like, and then you're like, oh wait, hang on, this is a fucked up situation.
Yeah, just don't be named after a bird. All right, so
Goose.
My name.
Okay.
Yeah, if I had
Cam, you were so lost.
Yeah, he was so confused. If I had a call name, I'd be Pigeon because I'm just always on the ground, never flying. So I thought that the choreography in this was a little bit ridiculous.
Pigeons fly all the time?
No, they don't. They don't fly. They're not real birds.
What's the bird that doesn't fly?
A dodo.
Flamingo?
A penguin.
Penguin?
Chickens don't really fly much.
They fly. They just don't fly high.
No, they glide. That's falling with style.
They hover.
So the choreography, I didn't really like many of the fight scenes in this, although they had some cool like gun scenes and stuff I thought was done pretty well. Who the heck is the diva that she can just keep objects inside of her body? Like, how weird is that? I was like, what, your body's just a big pocket? Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
One of the coolest characters ever.
Oh yeah. Yeah, totally coolest characters. She was pretty much like their version of a Twi'lek.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
I liked it. Just with a lot
Really
of
cool.
tubes. Very cool.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Give me the tubes. Give me the tubes and the filed teeth, baby.
Oh yeah. Bite down. There were a lot of scenes that were kind of I liked it for the comedic effect, but I was like, okay, how did you write this in the script where one character would ask a question on like one planet and then another character on a completely separate planet would answer the question and it would be like a quick cut scene to that and then it would cut back to them. So
it's the Austin Powers effect.
yeah,
Mhm.
it was just so like I was like, okay, what is even happening? Because if you take the dialogue out of the context of watching the movie, the dialogue makes no sense. I'm like, so this dude is just randomly saying something that answers this person's questions, yet like it just doesn't make sense. Like it's funny when you're watching it, but if you think about it a little too hard, you're like, that's not how speech works.
Yeah, it's that's the fourth and the half element.
Yeah.
They get rid of
Yeah.
the fourth and the half element. These half
that
elements,
needs to go.
they're crazy.
Yeah, oh fucking
half
half
elements.
element. Oh, my
Halflings.
things just beeped like they're gonna die soon. I might have to
Uh-oh.
switch to the sound from here.
Oh no! Oh no!
no.
All right.
You don't have the
so,
cord that plugs into them.
No.
So the final
at
thing
my
I'm
office.
gonna say here is that this movie ends really weird. It ends like a typical '90s movie. Play some random song that like
Yeah.
makes no sense, and then have like this weird sex scene in a pod. Like it just felt like a weird ending to me.
It's a kiss end. I like kiss ends are the worst.
Yeah. It's so bad. I would much
Yeah.
rather have like some dude in a long jacket throwing his arm up in the middle of a football field. So, all right. So that's everything I saw. Is there anything else you guys picked out in this movie where you're like, what the heck is happening?
No, but now I'm like really upset that there weren't as many guys in a long jacket with their fist up.
Right? I mean, come on.
All of a
Who
sudden, I
doesn't
want to
love that
watch
shot?
Breakfast Club.
The fist element.
Oh, that's a way different movie.
Oh man, that's amazing. I love it. All right. Let's talk about like who's in this movie and everything. So it came out May 9th, 1997, $93 million budget. It grossed only $63 million in the USA. So not very well. It was filmed mostly at Pinewood Studios in London and also at the Royal Opera House in England as well. So a lot of English stuff going on. You guys want to guess what the Rotten Tomato scores are?
I feel like audience is going to be way higher than critic. I'll say audience 78 and critic maybe like 62. Let's say 62.
I would say critic. I'm thinking high 60s, so I'm gonna say 68, and audience. We'll do an audience of an 80.
So audience is 86, so a bit higher than you guys are thinking, and then critic is 71. So still good. And I think a lot of it has to do with like the following afterwards rather than what was originally done at the time the movie came out. I think this has found like a cult following, and people have found appreciation later in life for it. Then when I think when it came out, people thought this was like a super strange, weird, dumb movie.
Totally.
Well, I bet they were going into it thinking Star Wars or Star Trek too.
Yeah, well, it was supposed to be a trilogy, and they only ever made this one movie because it essentially flopped.
It flopped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they could honestly pick it back up as a TV series. I mean, that's kind of what they've been doing these days, right? Like movies that have gained popularity recently coming back in television.
Yeah, what's Chris Tucker doing these days?
Nothing recently. Last thing I saw him in was Silver Linings Playbook.
Honestly, I would even watch it as an animated series.
This would be a super cool animated series. This would be super cool animated series for sure.
Yeah.
So this was written by Luc Besson as well as Robert and Mark Kamen, who wrote The Karate Kid and the Transporter series.
This movie makes a lot more sense now.
Yep, exactly. So Luc Besson also directed Valerian and the City of 1,000 whatever
planets.
That's it. And then he also directed that. Remember that movie Lucy with ScarJo?
Scarlett Johansson, and Morgan Freeman.
Did you guys watch that movie?
No.
I did once, and I remember not liking it, so I haven't seen it since.
No sense to me. No sense to me at all. That movie was so weird. So Bruce Willis plays Corbin Dallas. I don't need to tell you him. He's the dead guy. We all know who he is. Gary Oldman, also huge actor, played Zorg. We have Ian Holm, who played Cornelius, the like monk priest guy.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to bring him up because
He looks familiar.
Yeah, he's Bilbo Baggins in the Lord of the Rings franchise.
Okay.
That's why I wanted to bring him up. We have Mia Jovovich. Is it Mila? It's Mia, right? Mia Jovovich, who plays
I think it's
Lilu.
Mila?
Mila.
Maybe it's
That's
Mila.
what I thought.
Mila Jovovich. Okay.
Mila.
So Mila, she's in the Resident Evil franchise. I found out she was in the Hellboy reboot that just happened like 2 years ago. Hadn't seen it, but she's in it.
No, I didn't watch that.
Apparently, she's in Zoolander. Do you guys remember her being in Zoolander?
No.
Well, I guess she started as a model, and this was like one of her first acting gigs. So it makes sense she would be like in a.
And they didn't give her any lines.
No. No.
Yeah, that's probably
all her lines are gibberish in this movie too. And then the other thing she is in is The Fourth Kind, which Madison and I did an episode on that.
So many numbers, man.
Yeah, she loves numbers too.
The Fourth Kind, The Fifth Element, The Sixth Sense.
Jeez, yeah, it's great. And then so we have Chris Tucker, played Ruby
Lion
Rod.
King 2.5.
King 2.5.
Lion King 2.5.
Is there actually a 2.5?
Oh, there's a 2.5.
Yeah, it's 1.5 and 2.5. It's 2.5.
Yeah, it's something like that. And then also she was in Jet Li's The One. You guys remember that movie?
She's everywhere.
Yeah, we're on to something.
We're on to something here. So Chris Tucker, he was also in Rush Hour, which I believe we covered on this podcast. Jackie Brown, which is a movie I've never seen. And then
Jackie Brown is good.
Is it good? Okay,
I want to see it. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
I think it's the only Tarantino that I haven't seen.
It took me a while to find it and see it too, and then
it's one of his first ones, isn't it? If not his first,
I think it's the one right after Reservoir Dogs.
After Reservoir Dogs,
very
nice.
It's
one of the best. It's one of the best of his. It's just so under the radar.
Yeah, and then one thing Chris Tucker's in that I totally forgot this movie existed is Friday. I
forgot about that.
I had there's no reason I should have ever watched this movie. But I feel like I watched this movie a ton in high school.
Did you?
Yeah, a ton as in like 4 or 5 times. But like,
I mean, that's a lot of times to watch any movie.
I think it's just because something we used to put on at Joe's house. It was like Friday after next. We just like had those movies playing.
Yeah, those kind of movies are always playing.
Speaking of, Madison and I just tried to watch The Girl Next Door last night, and that movie does not hold up. That movie is so dumb. I remember loving that movie
too. Yeah, I thought it was so funny.
I thought it was innovative. The only thing that was cool about it was filmed at COC, and we were like, "Hey,
I was gonna say that entire movie is basically filmed in Valencia. There's COC, the Auto Mall area, the town center."
Yep, that's it. But so he's in Friday. Luke Perry showed up for like a hot minute in this movie, Beverly Hills 90210. He's just right there at the beginning. So Brian James, he plays the general that got put in the freezer. He's also a character in Blade Runner, so I wanted to bring him up for all our Blade Runner fans out there, all 12 of you, because that's all that exists. Tom Lister Jr.
The second one any good?
I didn't like it, but people loved that. The Blade Runner
didn't
2049. I didn't really care for it. Blade Runner is not for me. I'm not the thinking man sci-fi at all. I'm like laser swords.
All that sci-fi's supposed to be.
It's supposed to.
That makes sense. What didn't he like? He didn't like the lines and the rocks. They weren't descriptive enough.
I need
too
some
much thinking. Just tell me what you are.
The fifth element is the woman.
Yes, it totally is. Earth. I just can imagine that Earth, Wind, and Fire. ... Lilu. That's the new name of the band. So Earth, Wind, Fire, and Love. So Tom Lister Jr., he plays the president, and it was bugging me. I'm like, I know I've seen this guy in something. What the heck have I seen him in? He's like the prison guy in The Dark Knight who throws the detonator out the window when the Joker has the 2 boats. He's that, and I'm like, that's where I know him from. Like that's because he's got that one eye that's like very distinctive. I thought that at first I was like, is that like makeup? But I realized no, he also has that in The Dark Knight. So I think he just has that like crazy eye, which is a cool feature to be like, you really stand out in like action films and stuff like that.
I always thought that was for The Dark Knight.
Yeah, and now there we go. Now we know.
Maybe he just was very familiar with this. It was like, hey, you know what we did in this other movie I did back in the late 90s?
Yeah, just do it again. It's amazing.
It could have been actually.
Yeah.
Honestly, it really could have been. I haven't seen. Those are the only two things I've seen him in, so I can't actually say outside
What
of
if
it.
Christopher Nolan was like, "Yo, I loved you in Fifth Element."
Oh, if anyone likes Fifth Element, it's Christopher Nolan.
It's Christopher Nolan.
Yep.
The thinking man's filmmaker. So Lee Evans shows up in this movie. He is like a guard on Fluxton Paradise. He's the guy from Something About Mary, Tucker. Do you guys remember him? Did you notice him? There's Something About Mary.
Which one's?
No, you're right. I did recognize him.
Yes, and I think he's also in Charlie. Hey, I can hear myself.
Let me turn you down.
I think that he's also in Pacific Rim. Isn't he Charlie Day's like friend in Pacific Rim or no? Maybe.
I didn't
No,
see
that's not what
Pacific
I was
Rim.
thinking of. Hang on, now it's bugging me.
Well, the guy who did the music for this too also did the music for GoldenEye. I thought that was kind of interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah, just the menu page of the N64
Okay, yeah, but let's
GoldenEye.
talk about that
best part.
pause music.
Yeah, that's all it was. He just did the pause music. That's it. Of GoldenEye. Not even the movie, just the video game.
That music slaps.
that music does slap. All right, so let me bring us into fun facts here real quick.
What is facts? Baby, they're fun. They're fun. Oh yeah. What is facts? Baby, they're fun. They're fun. Oh yeah.
I heard Joe giggle over there. What happened?
It just makes me think of the first time Cam ever said something slaps, and you're like, what was that word you used? Smacks? It smacks?
Is it smack? I didn't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing. I was like, does that mean it's good? Does that mean it's bad? I don't know. I'm still using hip to the jive over here. I don't know. The bee's knees. I don't know what's going on. All right. So I got some fun facts for you. Yeah, I am not hip at all. So the divine language was invented by co-writer and director Luc Besson and further refined by Mila Jovovich, who had little trouble learning and developing it, as she was already fluent in 4 languages.
Oh, that's dope.
She is fluent in 4 languages. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I like. Are there? That's like got to be a small group of people that are fluent in that many languages.
Probably.
Yeah, what is it?
I feel
English
like there's a lot of people
Or
in
everyone in Europe.
Oh, that's
that
true.
speaks a lot of languages.
Well, they normally speak like 2 or 3, right? Not 4.
I don't
I
know.
don't know if they got
This is the
them
most
there.
generalization of
Maybe
Europeans.
6.
I have no
I know.
7.
We've never been there. We don't know. We're the
No,
wrong
we don't
people
know.
to ask.
Europeans, write in. Let us know.
Here, let's ask Corey randomly. About on average, how many languages do you think a European speaks? Yeah. She says 3.
3. Okay, it's still less than 4.
Hey, Jordan, if you're American outside the bathroom, what are you when you're inside?
European.
Oh, yes, love it. That's amazing. Okay, so. Oh no, I lost my train of thought. That was so good. I was gonna say something else.
No, all he's thinking is just European.
Yeah, all I'm thinking is European now. That's amazing. I love
Got
it.
European
He's gonna
on my
leave that door and be
mind.
like, "Hey,
Come
Madison."
Guess what I'm doing in here? I'm a peeing. Wait a sec. That's not how it goes. So Luc
Wait,
Besson.
set me up again. Set me up
Yeah,
again.
set me up again. Set me up. What's up with you, dog? What? Okay. So Luc Besson wrote the original screenplay when he was in high school. So he conceived of this whole movie when he was in high school and invented the world and everything. And it took him until he was 38 to finally make the film.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah. I'd like to go back and find some of the things I was writing and thinking about in high school. They would not be good. They would be awful.
Yeah, they're not great.
Yeah.
I found a journal of mine from 7th grade and I read it and it was terrible and it went directly into the trash can.
Yeah, I had a whole story about like a future world where there were like 4 different nations fighting, and they were like, it was almost like I was trying to create my own Warhammer 40K kind of situation. And then I realized it was very derivative of Warhammer 40k. Like America was just the Marines pretty much, like in mech suits and stuff. I'm like, this is so stupid. This is not innovative at all.
Yeah.
So dumb.
That's how most of my stories go. I was like, well, this is just like something else. So
Yeah, exactly. That's what we do. So when composer Eric Serra showed soprano Invin Mula, who voiced the diva, the sheet music for that like diva dance she was supposed to do, she essentially told him like, that's not humanly possible to hit all those different notes that quickly.
Yeah.
So how they did it is they had her hit each notes isolated, and then they digitized it and placed the notes where they needed it to be, and then she just kind of like lip synced and danced with it and wasn't actually singing. So
That's kind of dope, actually.
yeah,
So
I like that.
no human
Makes
can
sense.
actually do what she did on
Because
that part.
and also the creature, the
an
diva, is
alien.
not human, so
No,
it makes it even
exactly.
cooler.
It does, yeah. Super cool. The stars in the background. Okay, I love this because it's like practical effects. The stars in the background of all the sets were just holes they poked in giant black sheets of fabric. Like, how practical is that? Like, that's so.
Yeah.
Now, if
I
you
like
were to
it.
make like a set with stars, it'd be like giant screens, like they do in the Mandalorian. Like,
Yeah.
let's just go back
Yeah.
to just
The
sheets
giant
and
LED
holes.
walls.
Yeah.
Huge LED panels.
Oh, so funny. The flying traffic created by the visual effects team at Digital Domain allowed artists to create personalized license plate. So even though you can't really see them in the movie, there's a bunch of like vanity plates on the cars, and they also created the slogan for New York's license plates to say "New York, the fuck you state." I want that to be New York's new slogan for their cars.
It basically is.
You go from the garden state to the fuck you state. Bruce Willis ad-libbed the line, "Look, lady, I only speak 2 languages, English and bad English." Good on you.
That
Bruce
sounds like
Willis.
something he would say.
It does. Apparently at this time, so Mila Jovovich was so much younger than Bruce Willis that Bruce Willis and Demi Moore were married at this time, and his kids would come to set all the time. And Mila Jovovich would babysit the kids because she was like, I was so much closer in age to them than I was to any of my other co-stars. So she like
that's
was just a
interesting.
babysitter on set half the time for Bruce Willis's kids. Who one of Bruce Willis's kids, what's her name? Like Rhyme Willis or Rhythm Willis or whatever. She was on Catfish not that long ago. Yeah, what's her name? What's Bruce Willis's kid's name?
Rumor.
Lyric Willis. It's
Rumor.
Rumor. That's it. I knew it was a word that was reappropriated to a name.
Lyric.
Lyric Willis. I don't know.
This is my kid. Lyric Willis.
There's actually an actress whose first name is Lyric who's on AP Bio. If you like Glenn Howerton and Patton Oswalt, there's
I watched some of AP Bio.
Yeah, it's actually, the beginning's a little rough, but by halfway through the first season, it really finds its footing. I enjoy that show
Is it
quite a
still
bit.
way too blue and blown out in the background so you can't
the-
see the outside because they don't know how to shoot it?
The whole time. No, season 2 they must bring in a different showrunner in season 2 or a cinematographer or something, because there's a huge shift in quality in season 2.
Color temperature is so bad in that.
Yeah, I mean, I get why they were trying to go for like it's gray because he doesn't want to be here, but I'm like,
No.
like
Joe, it's like they didn't white balance. Like they don't know that that's a function of a camera.
nah,
Yeah, terrible.
Yep. Get it here, guys. So the
What was that?
I don't know. The animatronic mechanisms used for the Mangalore masks were later recycled from the Neimoidians in Star Wars Episode 1, which are a lot of words that only nerds understand right now.
Yeah.
Wait, which ones are the Neimoidians?
The Trade Federation ships, like the big control ships, those guys they're the Neimoidians.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Where their mouths are just like, oh no.
Now there are 2 of them.
Exactly, that guy. So the diva is played by Mae Wan, who is Luc Besson's fiance at the time. She took the role after the original actress didn't show up to set, and she was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. So that's kind of cool. Speaking of, he was engaged to her, but I guess Mila Jovovich and Luc Besson kind of got a little romantic thing going on set here, and then he dumped her, and then Mila Jovovich and him got married for like 2 years before getting divorced.
So that
Always
wasn't
happens on
Bruce
sets.
Willis in the canister thing.
No, that was
Car.
Luc Besson. So like I said, the movie was supposed to be a trilogy, but they condensed it into one, and they didn't get to do any more because it was kind of a flop.
Would have been called the Fifth Element 2 or the Sixth Element? Like, I'm just very curious because the fifth and then the Fifth Element 2 and the Fifth Element 3 just sound really not good.
What would be the sixth element? So if it's earth, wind, air, fire, then the fifth element is love. Would she then find out the sixth element is chlamydia?
Yeah. It is.
Yeah. So
sixth
comedy.
would be what, spirit?
Oh,
Yeah. Ooh.
I like that.
Mind.
Oh,
Mind. Ooh.
liver.
Sand. Just sand.
I hate sand. It gets everywhere. So Gary Oldman played Zorg as a cross between then presidential candidate Ross Perot and Bugs Bunny.
What?
This is the weirdest mashup ever. What a stinker. Oh, man. Okay, so originally Bassan wanted Prince to play Ruby Rod, which I think would have actually been really good.
Would have been perfect.
I think Prince would have been great in that role. And that's it. That's all my fun facts there. So
at least that was a lot
Ross
more.
Pro and Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I love that.
Oh, man. And what up, no taxation?
He knew he should have made that left at Albuquerque.
All right, guys. Is there anything else about this movie you want to hit before we roll on out of here?
I mean, it's a movie. It's a movie. I like it.
This movie is a movie.
I don't hate
movie.
it at all.
Like it.
I like it.
Yeah,
I think it's fine.
This is one I would watch every few years and be totally okay with, just because it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's
every
unmemorable.
Years,
It's unmemorable enough that I don't remember everything that happens in it, but it's memorable enough that you have a good time and you remember some of the lines from it. It's like that perfect area.
definitely.
And then when it starts and it's in Egypt, you're like, oh fuck yeah, this takes place in Egypt.
Yeah, and then it doesn't. When it started, I legitimately was like, "Is this the Mummy? What is happening? Like, what am I watching?"
Your description sounds like most Bruce Willis movies, though.
Yeah, like
True.
in Die Hard when it started in Egypt in 1914.
No, not that
weird
part.
twist. Weird twist. There, he had a giant teddy bear in Egypt.
You just remember a couple good lines and then you forget the rest.
Yeah. Oh, that part. Yes, that is all Bruce Willis movies. You meant the Egypt part.
No.
You know, Hudson Hawk starts in Egypt.
Looper.
Oh, I totally
Starts
forgot
in
about that
Egypt.
movie. I should rewatch that movie. I haven't seen that in forever. Is that a good movie? I don't know. Right in. We actually are doing this movie because of a fan. Good old Dermot over in Australia. How many languages did you guys speak in Australia? He asked us to do this episode because apparently it's the 25th anniversary this year. We missed it by like a month. So
the 25th.
The 20. It's gonna be like Land Before Times.
There's 25 Milas.
25 of them. It's pretty much how many like Scream movies are coming out these days. Jeez, they're making like a sixth one coming up soon.
It's how many Resident Evils there are.
Oh my gosh, yeah, dude. And they're all on Hulu, I think. I feel a Resident Evil. Oh no, we're taking a break. Anyway.
Yeah. We're just going to watch it, not talk about it.
We're just going to watch it. And, we're going to actually get on and talk about it, just not record it. And then
it's just going to be all in our group chat.
Yeah, we don't want to get out of practice or anything. All right, so go to wreckmypodcast.com where you can find our Instagram, Redbubble store, our Patreon, our YouTube. Go support us in all those fun ways. Leave a rating or a review. That would be greatly appreciated. And that's pretty much it. If you have a suggestion for a movie, let us know. Obviously, we do them for people like we did for Dermot. Thanks for writing in and letting us know you want us to do The Fifth Element. We did it. Here you go. Hope you enjoyed it.
So
there you go. That's the stuff. That's what we do here. So coming up here soon, we have the Power Rangers we're going to cover pretty soon.
So stoked.
Which is going to be awesome. We're going to have a special guest on for that one. We're going to have an around a round table coming up here soon. And then we are going to be going on hiatus for a little bit. We'll keep reminding you on the episodes to come. But all of July, all of August, we're going to do a hiatus, possibly even a little bit of September. We're going to see. And then once we come back, we'll come back and we'll adjust the schedule a little bit. We'll see. We might not release episodes every week. We may release them every other week. Just because, we're all
You'll
adults.
get them when you get them, and it'll be a surprise.
And you'll like it.
Yeah,
a
you'll be
little
like,
hiatus.
Oh, yeah.
a little hiatus. We're all getting repeat colonoscopies for
Yep, it's going to be great.
hiatus.
Yep. On that note, I mean, I guess we'll see y'all next week.
Yeah, bye. I love you.
I like and I love you all.
Hi.
Bye, everybody.
Oh, Greg is back.
Yeah.
Wreck My Podcast. Wreck My Podcast.
I just got out of my 2-hour drive.
A 2-hour drive. A 2-hour drive. I love 90s sci-fi movies, how they always have the most 90s soundtrack ever.
Oh, it's the best. So you gotta like get rid of some of the continuity
I think
for
it
the
would just
sake
be
of storytelling.
hilarious. I think it would be hilarious if at the end of the show, like Obi-Wan does like a Jedi mind trick where he erases Leia's mind, and that's how they explain she doesn't remember. Or just like the Men in Black show up and like neuralize her.
Wait a minute. But what do you mean she like? How would she not remember though?
Because like her interaction with Obi-Wan is not like, hey, Obi-Wan, remember you saved me a long, long time ago from the Empire? Well, guess what? I need your help again. Save me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. She starts with like, you served my father in the Clone Wars, which never actually happened.
He served in the Clone Wars.
He served in the Clone Wars, but
Bail
Bail
Organa
and
was
him
like
never
a
really.
senator in the Clone Wars.
Yeah,
I
didn't
guess.
the senators technically like were in charge of the clone army?
Technically, yes, and I guess that the senators and the Jedi Council had to like work together and stuff. I guess.
I mean,
that's
he
true.
was a big reason why Obi-Wan and Yoda escaped in the first place.
Yeah, I just feel like I like you're burying the lead a little bit. I'd be like, hey, Obi-Wan, you saved me before. Come save me again. Like,
Dude, Obi-Wan, it's been a while.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I love like who thought while they were filming that it was a great idea. They're like, you know how we're gonna sneak this girl out an oversized coat because
That's hilarious.
no one's gonna recognize anything.
And he's like,
going.
it's not even like secret. He's walking like
Yeah. In the
Yeah, he
middle,
is.
there's like a million officers around. I'm like, how is no one noticing this?
huge coat, just a hat.
It cracks me up.
That's something that I would write just to be an asshole, because
Yeah,
I know that people like us will be like, "Come on."
It seemed like it was almost a spoof. Like it felt
Yeah.
like a Mel Brooks film. All of a sudden.
yeah.
Totally.
Oh, it's funny.
Oh
man.
man, yeah. Anyway,
That was
that's
so
the
good.
Obi-Wan news, right?
Yeah.
We only got what 2 more episodes, I think.
Yeah, I think 2 more.
Yeah, I think tomorrow's the penultimate.
Mhm.
Craziness.
Yeah,
Let's bring back Maul.
Ah, dude, it'd be so sick.
That would be cool.
What if Maul is like the ultimate boss at the end?
That would be super cool. I'd be all in for that. Although I
Like,
don't know if the timeline works though.
You just hear really softly and quietly, just like in the
Yes.
background.
And it's just him. He's got a boombox just playing that all.
And it just starts zooming in on Obi-Wan, and it does like the thing where it's like the Chihuahua, and he's like has the PTSD and all this stuff's going on, like in the
Yes.
background.
Yes. That would be amazing. Oh, I'd love it.
Wreck My Podcast.